What's going on, everybody? Jolt here from the Token Minorities, and I am joined by my lovely co-host, RizzyPOW. Once again, say hello.
Hi, hello, this is Rizzy.
And we are here with your CPC Week 1 power rankings after a ton of really good battles this week. If you haven't already seen the battles, highly recommend you go check out all the coaches' channels. I don't know if they put it in the description below, but I hope they do. If not, I'm sure it's on the YouTube channel page or whatnot. Go take a look at all the coaches. Really cool guys. And seriously, all the battles, almost all the battles were super close this week. So give them a look. So with that said, going to talk a little bit about how we're going to approach these power rankings this season. So from our perspective, we think it would be more valuable to the viewers to hear more of a neutral stance on all of the battles that happen throughout the week. That said, our comments about this are not going to be based on what the coaches may have already said in their uploads over these battles. So if you want to hear the coaches' opinions on the battles and on the plays that they made, again, go check out their videos, go check out their channels. I'm sure they'd like to see the viewership on their videos as well. So these videos will more be our own perspective on the battles, our own input as to why we think they did what they did. And if there's anything that we say incorrectly, coaches, please call us out, let us know. And of course, check the comments below. There might be some interesting stuff down there clarifying things. So that's all I wanted to say up front. But RizzyPOW, you're up.
Yeah. Well, okay. So on both of our rankings, first at number 16, we have the Connecticut Crocodiles. So yeah, the Primarina, Dusclops, Scolipede, Rotom, Heat, Golbat, and Mew against Sharpedo, Diggersby, Coco, Arceus, Vandabuzz, and Blissey. And he brought a Restock Primarina to deal with the Sharpedo, which ended up not really working because Sharpedo ended up having P-Jab. Ended up getting a ton of kills versus him. And like he had a Dusclops that kind of got messed up by Diggersby pretty early on. And yeah, it was lit.
Cool story, bro. I'll cut this out for you.
What do you have to say about the battle, Joel?
Yeah, okay, so that was a battle that happened. Yeah, I really did like the defensive Primarina idea. I think that was also a way to take advantage of the potential Mandibuzz, as it would switch in pretty freely on the Mandibuzz and be able to do a lot of damage to most of A12's team, especially with Primarina being really powerful offensively, even without much investment. But it was actually a pretty close game toward the end, as I think Scolipede was pretty close to being able to pull off the game if he just had a little more damage on A12's Arceus. So overall, it was pretty nice prep on Shadow's part. Unfortunately for him, at least in my case, I think he was number 14 on your preseason rankings. He was my number 15. So by losing to the then number 16 team, that kind of means he has to go down, and there's only one spot left at number 16. So too bad for him there, but I'm sure he'll be able to bounce back. So with that said, we're going to hop over to number 15, which for me is the Arizona Dactyls. Where do you have them ranked, Riz?
I have them number 15. Oh wait, no, we're talking about Arizona Dactyls.
Yeah.
I have them number 14.
Okay. Yeah, so pretty much the same area. They played against the number 14 ranked Brisbane Breloom, coached by Aberforth this week, the Arizona Dactyls coach being Volume. And it's a tough one for him because he definitely had a matchup advantage in this game, where Aberforth and the Brisbane Breloom didn't have a single switch into Mega Medicham, yet Mega Medicham was able to be worn down very quickly by the combination of Toxic Spikes and just in general letting it take damage from the Nihilego's Grass Knots. So one really reckless early play is what costed Volume in this game, I feel, in that he really should have had the matchup advantage here, and that put him on the back foot against Abe's offense for the rest of the game. And quite honestly, when you're in the back against offense, it's pretty hard to come back. So that's really what happened to him here. He was number 12 in my preseason rankings, so with that loss to another lower team, I did have to move him down a few spots. And for me, he ended up there at number 15. So anything to add to that, RizzyPOW?
Yeah, essentially, when Abe was able to get Toxic Spikes and everything up, it wore down his team so much. And Mega Medicham just got weakened really early by Nihilego and ended up not being able to do as much. So, yeah.
Okay, so then we'll move on to my number 14, which is the San Antonio Sparse, but I'm going to let my man Riz take the lead on this one.
All right. So San Antonio Sparse, he had played Turk this week, and kind of that Charizard right there ended up doing a lot of work versus him. So I remember like Volcarona had a pretty good matchup versus Turk in general, but then Charizard came and he didn't end up even having any coverage on it for Charizard, like just in case it did come, which kind of ended up putting him on the back foot because Charizard got the acrobatics off. And I think if Turk missed some Will-O-Wisp and if he landed that could have actually maybe ended up being a 6-0. So I think that I guess he just underestimated Charizard, and Charizard kind of did stuff. So I don't think he played that badly. He just didn't have anything for the Charizard in the end, and and also there's a play in the beginning he had his own Kangaskhan, he subbed up, which I think sub was a really good bring this week. Because it can live a sizing toss from Registeel, can take a hit that doesn't get broken with a sub from Milotic, Skuntank, Tuvia is a proper investment, just like a lot of other things on Turk's team. But I don't know, he didn't even have recovery. I thought when I was looking at the matchup versus Turk, I thought Sub Wish would be a better thing, but he ended up going with Power Punch, which wasn't that bad, but it was just that Rocky Helmet did him in with Registeel in the end, because Rocky Helmet is a terrible item when you have a Kangaskhan, I know.
Riz knows all too well.
That's pretty much it.
That was pretty much my take on the matchup too. He didn't really prep enough for Charizard, which that's pretty easy to overlook, I think, whenever it's, I believe, at the very bottom
it's
of his
something
roster.
But
what I think really hurt him the most in this matchup was his speed tiers of his draft, as the Charizard was probably able to not run much speed investment at all, and it was able to just be a big issue, Will-O-Wisping all of his physical threats and just taking whatever hits he needed to from the stuff that might have been able to outspeed Zard. So that was kind of an issue, in addition to the fact that it didn't really look like he had much at all for Zygarde or Megalopunny. So if Charizard wasn't able to break through, especially there near the late game, it looked like Zygarde and Megalop would have both had a pretty easy time breaking through. So that's why you see the pretty big drop for him this week.
Yeah, another thing also about it is the fact that Charizard, one thing that Charizard is not scared of his rocks, and he has Mamoswine, which sometimes unless it's a Sash Mammal lead, I feel it's not a bad rocker, but since he didn't have the most reliable rocker in this match, it wasn't able to get rocks up, and Charizard wasn't able to get weakened and stuff. So there's also that.
Yep. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. So for my number 13, then I have the Arkham City Delibirds. I believe Riz has them at the same spot at 13, but
I have 13.
Okay, well, this team was my preseason number 16. Wasn't the biggest fan of his draft, obviously. But he came out with a win in Week 1 against the Connecticut Crocodile, so certainly props to him on that. That's why we see him moving up here 3 spaces in this week's Power Rankings. As a little bit of a synopsis on the battle, he did once again bring Bandit Diggersby, I think, so what a surprise there. You think he brings that almost every time he has Diggersby on his team. But he also was able to bring a pretty potent combination of the Blissey, Tapu Koko, and the Mega Sharpedo that really was tough for Shadow and the Connecticut Crocodiles to be able to deal with, especially the Tapu Koko Mega Sharpedo late game. He just couldn't deal with it at all. It was breaking through his entire team with relative ease, and with Blissey being able to chew the hits of Shadow's limited checks to Koko and Sharpedo, most notably the Rotom Heat, it was just a really tough time for his opponent. So really good prep on 812's part. Happy to see him moving up in the rankings a bit, as I do know he is a very competent player, and I do expect him to continue climbing throughout the season, so we'll see how that goes.
Sharpedo was really cool this match to see. It kind of did a lot of work, which is nice. Arceus was also a cool bring. Yeah, I liked how A12 played it and built the team, though, for sure. Did pretty well. All right, I'm going to do Virginia Tech because I have them lower on my power rankings. So I have them number 12 for me. I think, where do you have them?
10.
You have them number 10.
Yeah.
So I have a bit lower, but let's see. So Virginia Tech, he brought the Hoopa, Garchomp, Mega Venu. Arrow, and then Jelly, and then Cincino. He went up against Chris this week, so somebody had kind of high on my preseason power rankings, but so there was that Carmine Kobalian. He didn't end up doing that much work because he had a check to it in the end. He had Cincino. He was able to burn it and weaken it with Hoopa. I think that was Scarf Hoopa this week.
No, it changed up moves.
No, never mind. I am dumb. But yeah, in the end, what ended up happening, like Hoopa ended up actually putting in a lot of work, which kind of surprising since I didn't like it that much. But I mean, it put a lot of work early game, and then like Cincino actually also did stuff. And
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Cincino actually coming in clutch a little bit, putting in some work.
Yeah, that's kind of pretty cool to see.
It's kind of weird to not see a Rocky helmet on Togebor's side either against a potential Cincino. Yeah. So I thought that was interesting prep.
Aerodactyl played. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think the Z move on Aerodactyl might have actually saved him in the end, as it looked like Starmie could have certainly won the game, but Z Fly, I imagine it was able to pick up the kill on Starmie and save his butt.
Yeah, and also another play. Yeah, there's also that Cincino wasn't able to kill Xurkitree. That's kind of crazy. That was banded or life orb. What item was that?
I think it was choiced. I don't think I saw life orb.
Okay, was that banded? Because there's no way.
I don't know. Just check the coach's upload on that one. That's a good one to go check.
Yeah.
To see.
Cincino's kind of weak. If that was banded, that'd be kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay.
Great.
So let's move on then. So I'm going to talk about my man Abe and the Brisbane Braylims. I've already kind of talked about the match a little bit, but just to give him a little praise here, as he was against the Arizona Dactyls this week in a matchup that, when I was looking at it at a first glance, it looked almost unwinnable, as he had 0 switch-ins to Mega Medicham, like literally 0. Anything he switched in would die. And that's kind of the nature of having an offensive team, I guess, but even so, it's just an enormous threat to his team. He was actually able to overcome that, though, with a solid opener to the game, getting up the Toxic Spikes and chipping down the Mega Medicham a bit, such that the rest of his team would be able to deal with it. I believe he also brought a lot of really cool offensive sets as well. I remember seeing a Swellow doing a lot of damage to his team, and the game still was very close, though, despite all of that, as I believe it came down to a 1 or 2-0 at the end, where there was a little bit of hacks in Abe's favor, but I do think that he had the game essentially on lock at that point, regardless of the hacks, as he did have a Lucario in the back, which would be able to set up a Swords Dance on the remaining Pokemon on Arizona's team, and so +2 extreme speed was looking very threatening to the rest of the team as well. So I do think Abe probably had the game regardless of the hacks in his favor at the end, but even so, very big win for him considering the matchup, and congrats, you're moving up in the world. You moved up 3 spots from last week up to number 11 for me. Not sure where he is for Riz, but I'm sure he's relatively
I put him actually a lot higher.
Wow.
Where did I put him? Brisbane. I put him number 8. I actually really liked how Abe played this match in the beginning. Like getting Toxic Spikes and his hazards up just so early was so good for him, and that Sub-Salic Banafin clutch at the end. So, yeah.
Yep. All right, so now you're talking about Carolina. Go.
Carolina. Okay. So, Carolina, he was playing Rob Jr. this week, coach of the Dallas Starmies. So, I remember this match, he brought some pretty cool sets like Tapu Bulu. I remember he brought like the Guardian of Alola, which I haven't seen. Like, I know it's always a pretty good option, but I haven't actually seen Guardian of Alola been used too much yet in League. I hope it does, because it's a cool move. But he was able to weaken the Celesteela really early on that being a bit aggressive right there, like pretty early game, and able to end up weakening it. So Tapu Bulu ended up becoming kind of a pretty decent threat to him, although Mega Latios is just amazing. He was able to take Mega Horn still. But he did end up playing pretty well. He did lose, but I ended up deciding not to change him on the power rankings. I think I kept him the same as last time. I didn't move him because I felt like he played really well, and I also think that Rob Jr. is just his team. I really like his team, as well as like I think he's like a really good player. So I didn't really move him down that much because I didn't feel like he played bad at all. I felt like he played pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really have a whole lot to add on that. I really liked the Guardian of Alola catching the Celesteela. That was really cool. Agility, Mega Ampharos, Life Orb Crobat, both really cool brings as well offensively for him. But really, it just came down to not having the proper switch-ins to Mega Latios and wasn't able to either take out the Mimikyu or even just break its disguise at the end. I know it ended up, the Mimikyu ended up taking on the Mega Ampharos. And if he maybe was able to have an agility up at that time, Ampharos would be able to break through the disguise thanks to Mold Breaker, but didn't really have the way of taking out the Mimikyu there at the end, so Rob just had all the pieces to finish off the game, but a very, very close game for sure.
Mega Latios is broken.
It's a pretty cool mon. I like it.
It's not broken, I was kidding. That's an amazing mon.
All right, so let's move on then to, I believe the Dewford Drapions is next. So they're my number 9. Where do you have them?
I have the number 10.
Okay, so about the same area again. So Dewford played in what, in my opinion, was the game of the week against the Adelaide Zydingos. This battle was so close. The notable brings on Dewford's end that there was a bulky Mega Gallade set with Wish and Drain Punch that almost single-handedly won the game for him. Verd really didn't have much at all to take this thing on. And really, as the game was closing down, it really looked like the Mega Gallade was going to win. Unfortunately for him, he wasn't quite able to deal with the onslaught of offensive threats, most notably an SD, Life Orb Terrakion, and a Weavile at the end of the game that were able to collectively take down the Mega Gallade, as the Mega Gallade probably didn't have much offensive investment if it was that bulky, so the Terrakion was able to live a Drain Punch and then Swords Dance up and do some damage to it to where it was in range of Weaviles. So close to pulling that off, but you know, that was such a good game. Both players played super well, and someone had to lose, unfortunately, but he's still right there in the middle of the pack in my opinion at number 9.
Yeah, that was a pretty good game. I remember I watched that. That was super close, and in the end, I remember it came down to, I think Fallop ended up choking a bit. If he went, I think, hard Lando towards the end, he would have won, right?
I don't remember all the details of that bit, but you might be right on that.
Yeah, because it ended up being like, it came down, if I remember, I'm trying to pull up the replay just to make sure I'm not talking a bunch of crap, but but I'm pretty sure that it ended up coming down to like bulky Gallade versus Terrakion, and Terrakion ended up setting up an SD, and Gallade wasn't able to kill it with Drain Punch, so he lost his Gallade, and if he just went hard Lando, since it was Scarf Lando, he would have just been able to switch in as it SD'd and killed it. So I think that's what ended up losing him the game, if I remember correctly. But yeah, still, it was a really good game. That was definitely, for me, too, match of the week.
Okay, so then next up, want to talk about Andrew?
Andrew, so yeah, I have Andrew a lot higher. I have him number 5. And Jolt, I think, lowered him to number 8. Originally he was 6 for Jolt, and I think I lowered him 2 as well. He was 3 for me because I liked his team a lot. It was a pretty cool team. But yeah, I remember this game ended up coming down to ended up being like a stall war versus Lickitung and Cofagrigus, and I remember it was really hacksy as well for Andrew, and I didn't really feel like moving him down too much just because I remember he also misclicked. I don't remember exactly what I remember there was like a really big misclick that he had.
Yeah,
that ended up losing.
He clicked Calm Mind with Latios in the face of the Scizor.
That was it. Yeah,
that was not the best decision in the world.
Yeah, yeah, and that's kind of, I'm pretty sure if he attacked right there, he would have just, I mean, he wouldn't, yeah, he would have won.
I think it just depended on the Scissor's item. I'm not sure what the Scissor's item was. It might have been banded, but if it wasn't Akaberry, then definitely Hidden Power Fire there would have put him in a much better position because his opponent, his opponent, Prado, needed to have the combination of Bullet Punch and Mach Punch to be able to take out a Mega Pidgeot, which otherwise swept his team. And if he lost the Scizor there, then Andrew certainly won. So yeah, a bit of a misplay there that kind of hurt him a lot and made it come down to that stall war where...
well, I think it was a misclick because he said in the chat it was a misclick, and I heard...
Yeah.
But,
Misclick,
so it wasn't
misplays.
a
They're basically
misplay, I guess you'd say that. And I think like he also got really unlucky towards like at the end. I remember
Yeah.
with the lick a tongue versus Kofag.
Just
matchup.
never lean on Irontail, guys. It's a bad move.
Yeah, but yeah, still like I know Andrew is he's kind of tilting right now from past NPL and also like this, but I kept him pretty high because I have faith in Andrew. He's gonna come back and he's gonna rule the world and win. 'Cause, yeah.
I agree. He's a good player for sure. All right.
He's a good player.
He's gonna rule the world too.
Yep.
All right. So I'm gonna move on.
Yeah, because if you win in Pokemon, you pretty much rule the world. So
That sounds about right. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna move on to my number 7, being the Dallas Starmies. You have him a bit higher. Correct?
I have number 3, Rob.
Okay, so you probably don't see
Yeah.
him on the graphic right now, but you will whenever we get to the top 4 for Riz's rankings. But I have him at number 7. Let's see me find my notes on him. So yeah, he played against the Carolina Pantherians. We already talked about that game in quite a bit of detail, so I won't say too much about this. But really, the key point here is that he really showed how good Megalodios is in the format, especially against the team that doesn't have proper switch-ins. It sure looked like he was a modest Megalodios in this game, just doing tons of damage to really his opponent's entire team. He didn't have any good switch-ins to it at all. Looks like it could 2-hit KO pretty much everything. So really, Megalodios was super good in this game. The game still came down to the wire, but Rob did make all the plays he needed to do to win, and that's why he is finding himself up 4 spaces. He was number 11 for me last week, now up to number 7. So congrats to Rob.
Go Rob. Yeah, it was a good game. Megalodios again was amazing this game. Yeah, I don't really have much else to add on to what you said.
Sounds
Yeah.
good. So, all right, you want to get Prado, Golden State?
Against Andrew, yeah, this ended up coming down again. We said earlier, we were talking about it, came down to the Star War between Kofag and Lickitung, and Kofag ended up winning. But yeah, I really do think that he played pretty well this game. Infernape was really clutch this game with priority. Mach Punch. Spikes also were kind of an issue for the Golden State War Turtles, and yeah, there's not a ton to say about this match. I mean,
No, we've already pretty much covered it whenever we
we pretty
talked
much
about
said everything.
Andrew. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a really good game though. It just came down to the wire.
Yeah,
Very long with the PP war at the end, but
Mhm.
yeah, I guess that kind of shows the importance maybe of getting 2 rounds of toxic spikes instead of
Golem.
just the one in this case.
Golem was cool because you never see Golem.
Golem is cool. That's true.
It is. It's a cool model.
You're not wrong.
It's like a big fat ball of rocks, and yeah.
Or it's like one giant rock, but you know,
Oh well, I mean, you can see like rocks.
it's like a
in-
walking rock. Who wouldn't want a walking rock?
Exactly.
Like it's like a real pet
And-
rock.
Yeah, I would totally love to have a Golem, like living with me. It'd be cool.
Cool story, bro. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. So I'm going to talk about Togavor and the Portland Timbers. I have them at number 5. Do you have them in your top 4 or outside the top 4 now?
No, I lowered Togue pretty bad. I put in number 9.
Number 9. Okay, well, we just
Yeah.
entirely skipped over that for you. So, yeah, we both have him relatively in the middle. I have him a bit higher just because I know Toge's potential is so high. But he lost this week against the Virginia Tech Ferokies. Not really Toge's best performance in terms of prep. I think he played fine. I didn't really see any huge misplays on his end in his battling. He just didn't really bring proper responses, I felt, to like the Hoopa especially. Not that he really had many in the first place, but he brought a Cobalion set that he pretty recklessly just played and let it die, and then at that point he didn't have switches to Hoopa at all. So yeah, that was kind of interesting on his end. He also kind of seemed to get caught off guard by a Z Crystal on his opponent's Aerodactyl, which was able to take out the Starmie. So even with not the best prep in the world in my opinion, he still was able to put himself in a position where he could have won if his opponent didn't have the Z move or wasn't like Life Orb or something and able to OHKO the Starmie with Aerodactyl. So as per the usual, he played very well. Just prep wasn't really what I'm used to seeing from him, and that's why I was forced to lower him this week with the loss, but not too far quite yet. We'll see if he's able to pick up steam here as the season goes forward, but for now he's moving down 3 places from number 2 to number 5 for me.
Yeah. I ended up just moving him down, not because I necessarily think that he's worse than all of the other players above him or anything. It's just that like it was really hard, and I just felt that people above him deserved a spot more. So kind of hurt me to put Chris at number 9, but like it was really difficult because I definitely think based on the week 1 performance, like pretty much everyone above that I put had a much better showing in week 1, and I didn't want to really base it off of the pre week 1 power rankings, just because I feel that like week 1 is obviously more important how you use your draft. So I feel like week 1 and pre-draft power ranking, or pre-week 1 and week 1 power rankings, like that's probably where the biggest jump should be. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me to say.
Okay. Do you want to talk about Verd?
Verd. Oh yeah, okay. So Verd, again, we were talking about the game with Paul. That ended up coming down super close. Let's see. Yeah, so Verd ended up getting up Sticky Webs up, and I really like Verd's, like, I know I kind of doubted Verd a little bit at the beginning, but Verd was able to show like how his team is like to be used again. And on top of that, I think his team is going to get better because I know that he made a transfer this week and he picked up Nidoking. I'm not sure if that was supposed to go into this week's PR because I guess it's the end of week 1, but I know it. So I also moved him up.
Spoilers!
I don't know. Is it a spoiler? Did I just mess up everything?
You're fired, Riz.
Oh no. Okay, bye. Well, I put the part that he got Nidoking also into my rankings because I think that makes his team quite a bit better. Because I don't know, just Steelix. I think he dropped Steelix in the end. I don't remember exactly what he dropped, but his team is better. Okay, just trust me. Okay, okay. All right, but yeah, it ended up coming. He ended up getting webs up. He never allowed Finny to get a chance to defog. I remember he brought like Taunt Mew. I don't know if he ended up ever using Taunt. I'm pretty sure he did. I remember I knew his team before the match as well. Pretty sure he ended up using Taunt at some point. Ended up coming down to the SD Terrakion. And again, I think that I'm pretty sure Paul could have won if he didn't choke. But I still think Verd played really well in the entire match. So I decided to move him up a lot this week.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot more to add. Just wanted to give a little shout out to the Dragonite set. I thought that was kind of cool. It was Gigavolt Havoc on Thunder and Hurricane, so it was a special Dragonite with Gigavolt Havoc.
Yeah,
on Thunder,
I think it was also agility.
Yeah, that's a really cool set, especially supported by Sticky Web. So yeah, that was pretty neat. But yeah, super close game, like we already said before when we talked about Fallop. But yeah, he came out with the win, and he impressed me. So he's up to number. He's actually up to number 3 for me when he was at number 5. So you're looking at one of my top 4 teams here. So now we're going to.
Put him
go ahead.
7. I have him 7.
Yeah, I know you have him a little lower, but now we're getting to the point where we're talking about teams who are in both of our top 4s. The only difference being I have Verd in my top 4, and you have Rob Jr. I believe in your top 4. So.
Yeah, Rob Jr. number 3.
Let's talk about Johnny and the Rhine Valley Guardians. So he had his hands full in week 1. So my preseason number 3 in the Rhine Valley Guardians played against my preseason number 1 in the Angels of Bohemian. So pretty high-powered matchup here right away in week 1, and it came down to the wire as you would expect. The prep was solid overall on both ends. And in the end, he just really didn't have enough to deal with I believe scarfed Espeon on his opponent's end. He didn't have things to really outspeed it, or anything that he might have been able to outspeed it was already taken out by the time the Espeon was able to clean late games. So really solid prep on both ends. Mega Heracross once again proving that it is a massive threat in the format. It still triggers me a little bit for those of you that happen to watch my NPL stuff, but yeah, really good game for sure.
Yeah, I really like the game. This match to me, I thought was the two best teams in my opinion, like just based on their draft facing off. So it was a pretty exciting match to see. RizzyPOW did end up losing, but I think he played really, really well. So I didn't really move him down too much. I think I'm making him number 4 when I had him number 1. I mean, I wouldn't have lowered him that much, but I just feel like also the 3 teams that I moved up, I feel like those could, just those, like, I feel like had a more impressive showing and stuff because, like, you know, there's some pretty cool matches and cool sets that they brought. And honestly, I could even put RizzyPOW like number 3. I was really close to doing that. But yeah, pretty much it.
All right, so you want to talk about Turk?
All right, I got my boy Turkey. That's how you say it if you like pronounce it. Because it's Turkehy. It's like all weird. It's Turk's dumb. Yeah, so Turk, we already talked about this match a little bit before. It was against Will, and this one also is another one I was debating between 1 and 2, but I made him number 1 because Jolt put Turk number 2, and I want to be different. So,
can you believe this? This is the treatment I get.
But yeah, Turk ended up bringing a freaking cool Charizard set that ended up doing a ton of work against Will. Will, again, we said he didn't have a ton of prep for it, but that was pretty impressive that just normal Charizard was able to put in so much work. He was able to deal with Mega King pretty well. He had that Rocky helmet, you know, Rocky helmet. It's a great item when you're going up against King. Yeah, just a really, really good impressive showing. You know, there's one thing though about Turk. I was mocking him for this game actually, and he brought freaking Flame Orb Milotic with no recovery originally. All right, he probably brought the actual match. He said he changed it, but he's
probably lying. Let's be honest.
Yeah, he's lying. So he's bad. So I was really close to putting him like 14 or something, but I can't prove it. He didn't bring recovery, so just put him number 1 instead. You know?
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to add. We've already talked him up a lot. Really, really solid prep. Arguably the best prep we saw all week, honestly. I was really impressed with it. And he got a very clear and convincing win against a pretty solid team. Any team that has Mega Kang Mamo, that's a threat offensively, and he prepped for it beautifully. Mega Kang sucks, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. I disagree that it sucks, but he made it look not very good, that's for sure. Mega Kang did jack all. So... All right, so let's talk about the last team, I believe. I hope we didn't miss anybody. The last team on our power rankings, my number 1, RizzyPOW's number 2. That is the Angels of Bohemian, coached by Juiced. I know I'm saying that wrong. Do you remember how I'm supposed to say it? It's like
not Juiced.
Yost? It might be something like that. I don't know. Yeah, sorry, I know I butchered that, but like we already talked about, he played against RizzyPOW and the Rhine Valley Guardians, number 1 against number 3 in my power rankings, and he came out victorious. So he is the clear-cut number 1 for me this week. Beautiful prep and play, and I really did like how he used his core of the Kieran Black Lando Eye. Pretty standard-looking Lando Eye set. I believe it was Life Orb, as well as a Sub-Zero Slammer Kieran Black. That combination, obviously very tough for anyone to deal with defensively. I would argue that's almost impossible to deal with defensively. And yeah, like he just played that super well. So I don't really have a whole lot else to say other than you proved your worth at number 1. So congrats, and we'll see how long you can keep that position.
Yeah, he played well. Yeah. I don't really have too much to add. He brought a Luxray, and Luxray is pretty cool.
Luxray's quick attack came in clutch if I remember correctly, so that was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. It was lit.
It was lit. All right, and on that note, it was lit. It was lit. On that note, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. So I hope you did enjoy this week 1 power rankings for the CPC. I guess let us know in the comments below what you think about the rankings. Maybe leave your own rankings as well if you would like to. We'll be happy to see what you have to say. And, of course, just your opinions in general would be great to see in the comments. So thanks for watching, guys. Any final words from my man, Riz?
No.
No.
Oh, wait, no, wait. Happy birthday, Jolt.
Happy birthday, Jolt. You heard it here first, guys. Happy birthday, Jolt. All right. Thanks for watching, guys, and we will see you all next week. Peace.